It's gonna be some stuff you're gonna see that's gonna make it hard to smile in the future. But through whatever you see, through all the rain and the pain, you gotta keep your sense of humor. You gotta be able to smile through all this bullshit. Remember that.
Hi, this is Anthony Wright. I want to say thank you for visiting the network. And don't forget to like us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And remember, we're all about simplifying the difficult. Enjoy the message. Be committed to consistency. Those were the words that my father spoke to me at a very young age. And in the book, Stolen Bottles, when my bottles were stolen, and he started to realize that it was time for him to talk to me about where we lived. Because up to this point, I thought we lived in utopia. I thought we lived in the best world that you could ever live in. But the reality set in when my bottles were stolen from me. And at that point, he realized it was time for me as a father to sit down with my son and tell him exactly what's really going on. And before he even got into giving me the info of where I lived, as you read in the book, he talks about being committed to consistency. And he started to tell me that whatever happens in your life from this point on, you don't allow any distractions to affect your commitment to being consistent to something. He said when you first started collecting these bottles, you were committed to it. And now that the bottles were stolen from you, now you want to give up. You want to stop being committed and stop being consistent to collecting the bottles because you got a couple or a bunch of them stolen from you. And what he was sharing with me is no matter what happens, your goal is still your goal. And you have to be committed to that goal. And through all of that, what I learned over the years is basically how I translated that and I applied that to my life. He was telling me that you're going to have distractions. You're going to have them. It's a part of life. But whatever you start out being committed to, don't stop being committed to it because of some things didn't go your way. And as you read in the book, as he was sharing this with me, and as we went back home, my energy changed. I wanted to go back out and be committed to what I started out doing, was to collect bottles to make money. And as you read the book, you'll find out that as I step back out into it again, as I step back out into the commitment to being consistent with looking for these bottles to make money, things started to change for me. But it was at that moment where I had to realize what being committed to consistency was really about. Now, there's 3 principles to this that I want to talk about. The first principle, when we start talking about being committed to consistency, and this first principle is going to be the principle that's going to rely, or is going to be the foundation to everything that I talk about. This one principle is consistent into everything that I apply to my life, I apply to everything I put my hands onto, and that I apply to every thought or dream that comes into my mind. And that first principle is everything has a process. Everything takes time. Everything starts out with a seed first. You have to water the seed, and then the seed grows. And we have to understand, no matter what we get into or whatever goal that we set out or whatever desires that we have to understand that it all has a process to it. There's a saying that there's a seed time and there's a harvest time. There's a time when you have to plant the seed. There's some times when you're not going to see anything, but you got to be committed to keep doing it over and over and over and over. That's the first principle, is we must understand that everything is a process. Now, we're dealing with being committed to consistency. The second principle is that we must look beyond our present state. When you're learning how to be committed and to consistency, or being committed to something, we have to not allow our present state, where we are, to distract us or to tell us what we can and what we can't do. Right? We have to focus on the end result. If you look at what's around you, you'll come up with excuses why you can't be committed to consistency. You'll say, I don't have enough money, or the kids, or my mother, or my father, or my husband, or my wife, or my job is the reason why I can't do it. Those things become distractions. And we can't allow our present state to say or determine if we're going to be committed to something or not. We can't allow that to take place in our lives, because once we do that, we'll be going start, stop, start, stop, start, and stopping. And that's what a lot of times happen. I use this a lot with losing weight or trying to get in shape. We get distracted and then we stop. And then we start again, we get distracted, and then we stop. And that's the whole thing about losing weight and staying healthy, is being committed to it regardless of what's going on. Third principle, do one thing every day that pertains to your goal. That's our third principle when we're talking about being committed to consistency. The third thing we have to remember is that we got to find one thing that we can do every day pertaining to that goal, or to whatever it is that we're being committed to, and that we're going to be committed to consistency with. We have to find one thing. I tell people all the time, I use the example that we all can generate from this principle, is that we are all committed, or majority of us is committed, to getting up every morning to brush our teeth, regardless of what's going on. Regardless of your distractions, regardless of your present state, we consistently, and we're committed to it, that we get up every morning to brush our teeth. And just as we're committed to that, regardless of our situation, regardless how your day went the day before you went to bed, what argument you had, what situation was on your mind that caused you to worry all day, when you went to bed and got up the next morning, we were committed to getting up, brushing our teeth, and washing our face, and going on about our day. And that's an example of what being committed to consistency is all about. Is that regardless of what's going on, we're going to do at least one thing every day pertaining to our goal. The fourth principle is we have to learn to fight through the distractions. As I said before, the distractions are going to come regardless. It's a part of life. The moment that you make a commitment to be consistent about something, you better believe that there's going to be a distraction that's going to try to cause you to get off focus of what you committed to. And some of you know that this is true, because as soon as you get things together and you get it going, within the first week, it goes perfectly. But then the second week, something comes up that you didn't expect. And that situation that you didn't expect grabs your attention, and it causes us to come off the commitment that we said that we was going to be committed to. But here's the thing, it's okay. It's normal. And this is what I mean for the fourth one about fighting through the distractions. If you set yourself on a schedule, and let's just say whatever the distraction may be, and let's say at 4 o'clock you decided to do something every day at 4 o'clock, and that distraction comes in and gets you off schedule and you miss the 4 o'clock appointment, be committed to doing it later. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or whatever it may be. But learn how to fight through that. Because you didn't make it at the 4 o'clock time doesn't necessarily mean that you don't do it. It means that, okay, maybe we have to just push it back. But at the end of this day, I'm going to make sure I get this in. Even if I go in, as I go to the gym, even if I go to the gym and just run on the treadmill for 15 minutes, I got to the gym, may not have my whole hour and a half workout or my hour workout, but I got to the point where that's most important to me is conditioning my heart, and that's getting on that treadmill. If I can't just get in just to do that, I'm satisfied. And that's me fighting through the distractions. Because they will come. Job, family, whatever it may be. Time schedules will get off. But at the end of the day, we have to fight through it. We have to fight through the distractions. So step number one, or I should say principle number one, we must remember that everything is a process. Everything is a process. 2, we have to look beyond our present state. When we're getting ready to make that commitment, we have to look beyond where we are today. Because today, it doesn't line up with the commitment that you're getting ready to make. Listen to this. It's the commitment to the consistency that's going to change your present state. Your present state or where you are is because of lack of commitment to consistency. Principle number 3, do one thing every day that pertains to your goal. Do one thing every day that's going to pertain to whatever that you're being committed to. You may have a list of things, but just nail one of them down until you're able to build up to get to the second one. As I said before, we all are in a good habit of brushing our teeth regardless of whatever situation that we're going through. When things are going bad, we brush our teeth. When things are going good, we're brushing our teeth. In other words, we've all committed to at least doing one thing, that is to get up and brush your teeth. Regardless of how your life is going right now, we committed to getting up every morning and brushing our teeth. Principle number 4 is we must learn to fight through the distractions, because they're going to come. When you're starting to get committed to something, and when you're being committed to consistency, distractions is a part of the territory. What you must learn is to identify the distraction. Realize the distraction is there and say, okay, I understand that it got me off schedule, but that doesn't mean that I can't get it done today. That means that I would just push it back. Or tomorrow I'll work double time. Or whatever it is, that schedule that you're on, when that distraction happens, acknowledge it. And once you acknowledge the distraction, then you can tell yourself, now I know where I got to make up for the time that was lost. Okay, so remember, be committed to consistency. That's what this is all about. Let's go over the steps again, or the principles again. The first principle is everything is a process. Second principle, you got to look beyond your present state. The third principle, do one thing that pertains to your goal. Be committed to doing one thing. And the last principle is you got to fight through the distractions, because they're going to come. It's just part of the territory. All right. Thanks a lot.
There's going to be some stuff you're going to see that's going to make it hard to smile in the future. But through whatever you see, through all the rain and the pain, you got to keep your sense of humor. You got to be able to smile through all this bullshit.